What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the 100th episode of the Clean Libertarian Podcast. It's been a long trip, been a long ride. Sound quality hopefully has gone up. Production quality definitely has not gone up. I still suck at all of this audio stuff, but I'm trying for you guys. But man, I actually had a dad roundtable planned for this evening, but it just couldn't happen, which is fine. So we'll be doing that one soon, hopefully within the next couple of weeks. So I did want to still celebrate the fact that we're 100 episodes into this thing. So I wanted to bring on none other than the Mrs. Clean Libertarian. Hello.
Hello, I'm here. I'm once again a consolation prize.
I mean, not really.
I'm always coming through for you.
You are. I tell people all the time that every achievement that I've ever had is because of you. You're standing behind me every step of the way.
That's very sweet of you.
You've heard me say this. Well, now it's on recording, so now everybody's going to hear me say this multiple times.
Well, I have to tell you, I'm very proud of you. 100 episodes. That's a lot of episodes.
A lot of content.
A lot of content.
A lot of content.
You're steady.
Yes. Yeah, we're getting it done.
It's it's the longest hobby I think I've ever seen you stick with.
No shit. Yeah, I'm pretty bad about that. I'll pick up a hobby and I'll throw it away pretty quickly. But I don't know. I kind of wanted to touch base because you listen to all my episodes religiously.
Every single one.
So I wanted to go down this journey together and kind of talk about, what I had learned and kind of pick up from what you'd picked up on it. But when I started this project, when I started this podcast, I had a really narrow view on what recovery was. A very 12-step focused and oriented perspective, which is good. Don't get me wrong. I'm not knocking that. But I had this mentality that abstinence only was the only way to find happiness and freedom again, and it was because I brought on so many different guests from all sorts of walks of life that I was able to kind of, change that perspective a bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, my God, look at all the stuff we've been able to accomplish, though, with that, too. We went from helping out shots whenever I first interviewed them to following their lead, and now we've got, a similar program going right here in our own backyard. My God.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool, right?
I think it's awesome. I love all your episodes. I love hearing people's stories of just finding freedom from their addictions. And, there have been some episodes where I'm like, oh, God, I hope Drew doesn't start thinking that he can, recreationally start using mushrooms. Because sometimes you do these episodes and you're like, maybe I can do that. And I'm like, no. I don't think so.
Well, not yet, right? Not yet. Not quite yet. But no, I don't know, man. Abstinence only is the only way that I've found freedom, Granted, I've never tried plant medicine or anything like that, but when I think about my life today, there's not anything I want to enhance in it. I'm living the dream, I'm happy, I'm content.
Yeah.
And so there's no need for me to, use a substance to enhance that or whatever. So I don't know. Maybe if something really crazy traumatic happened, at least I have some avenues that don't involve methamphetamines and heroin. But
and I think along the way you've gained a lot of allies and friends. You've got new ideas. You've gotten different perspectives.
Yeah.
I think the podcast so far has been really good for you.
Recovery is one of those languages that transcends political ideology. You know what I'm saying? You can be left and struggle with addiction, and you can be right and struggle with addiction. It does not discriminate. And so, I don't know, with how polarized the political map is, and this podcast has been a way for me to kind of take a step back from, picking a team and picking a side and more just kind of talking about the core values which make me who I am. And, you kind of get to put some of that stuff to the litmus test. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That abstinence only, for example, just having that mentality changed for me. When I started this out, I was I had some different views about how to approach, ending prohibition. I also had different views on harm reduction. I had different views on a whole list of things that have changed. And I guess that's kind of the trick, right? Is not ever getting so firmly in one position that you cannot change it when given new information. Right?
Well, and I think when you give a voice to something, it changes your opinion too. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of things that I'm like, oh, that sounds, really out there. And until you walk a mile in someone else's shoes or hear their story and it puts an identification on it, then I think it kind of opens your eyes.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, without a doubt. And I mean, I don't know. This is kind of how it worked for me too. Like when I first caught a glimpse of recovery when I was struggling, it was somebody else speaking about a portion of their story that I could identify with. And it was a guy talking about stealing somebody's dope and helping them try to find it. Like that was something that I was like, oh shit, I've done that, But then they start talking about recovery and hope and all these beautiful things. And I didn't know, but since I identified with that first part, I was able to follow them through on the rest. I was curious at least. And I think that's kind of how it works, right? Like when I hear people discussing parts of their story that I can heavily identify with, then I can realize, oh shit, man, we all battled the same thing. And I think where kind of some of the problems lie in modern day recovery is this: we have a tendency to look at the people sitting at the table in a room, with us. We have the tendency to focus on them and see, well, see, they made it, while completely ignoring the amount of people that never made it through the door. The people who were too scared or too intimidated to come to a meeting. So when I hear about, like I had Lane and Spike on and they were talking about, DIY recovery, like I fucking dig that because that's a new thing, right? Like that's another avenue. I think every single possible iteration and avenue of recovery meetings or fellowship or support groups should all exist, Yeah. Because you might reach that one person who nobody else can.
Right, and even if you just reach the one, then it's all worth it.
And if you stay clean in the process, fuck, you already did your job.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I don't know. It's been a fun ride. I'm grateful, Sometimes I'm like, fuck this. But other times I'm like, I'm really glad that we get to talk recovery. I'm glad that we get to hear stories. I love the activists that we've had on. I love hearing about what works elsewhere in the country. I love hearing, I'm really trying to get some more harm reductionists on because obviously that's like my main squeeze right now.
Well, and you make it look so easy. Like, I thought, well, I could do a podcast. And so, my podcast lasted about 5 episodes.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, okay, well, I just need to change my podcast. And I'm going to host people's stories of recovery from the loved one's perspective.
See, why didn't you do that?
I don't know because I don't know how. But you make it look so easy.
It's not, it also, when you listen to like other people in the podcast world, like they have like really cool intros. And my intro, by the way, I'm sure he doesn't listen anymore, but Alex Acid Prosy, that was his, and I still love my intro song. But
also,
but there's like sound effects they do, like a lot of people do throughout their entire podcast. Like if you go to Spotify and look at the top charts, like I'll never be that dude.
But you don't monetize either, which I think that your listeners love and respect. 'Cause we don't have to get a bunch of, hey, we're going to hear this guy's really impeccable story about finding recovery. And then in the middle of it, we're like, try HelloFresh.
Right. Yeah. And the ads that you guys have heard on the show, like in the intro, like those are just completely free. It's, I would never charge a friend or a loved one to put up an ad. So like if you're out there and you're listening to this and you got something that you want to plug, like hit me up. I don't mind as long as I believe in it. But if it's something weird, like, I don't know.
Yeah, but I think that makes this podcast so unique because it literally is just like your like passion project. Like it's so genuine and real, and you're not looking to make money off of it. You're doing it because you enjoy it and because you want to showcase people's stories.
Yeah.
And I love that about your podcast.
I like that too. I like the ability. I like not having to play to the audience. You know, like, and God bless the guys that are out there and they just consistently land big names. You know, like that's cool. I mean, that's great. I felt like if I started chasing clout like that, I would lose sight of what the real focus here is. You know. Yeah. And trust me, and I've got irons in the fire. Like, there are some bigger names that I would like to get, but I want to hear their story of recovery. Like, I don't want to, hear about their bullshit, Like, Tim Dillon. Dude, I would love to have. Theo Vaughn. Those are the two main that I would love to have on. You know what I mean? To talk about their recovery.
Yeah.
Danny Trejo.
Oh, yeah, that would be cool.
Oh, my God, I would love to get Danny T on. But, that's kind of where it is, and it's just
or his son's in recovery too. That would be cool.
But I don't know him. You know what I'm saying?
You don't need to know him.
Danny's got history in the rooms, and I don't want to bust his anonymity, but I'll say in recovery spaces, if I ever get him on, you guys will see what I'm talking about. But I'm telling you that man played a pivotal role in the history of recovery in this country. Long before he was like a movie star and all of that. So that's why I would like to get him on. But anyway, we're just kind of getting off the rails, which is what we always do. But thanks for supporting me.
You're welcome.
And thank you guys out there for supporting me too and continuing to listen. And hopefully we get you some more great content. I mean, I don't know if there's going to be a 200. I don't know if there's going to be a 150. But we did make it to 100. And it was a lot of fun getting here. And I've got some great episodes lined up for y'all coming up. Next week, pay attention because that's going to be a hell of a story. It's a coworker of mine. He's quickly become a good friend. He spent the last 38 years of his life in prison. And he's been out for 7 months. And this man has just a phenomenal story that I know that you guys are going to want to hear.
He works with you?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. He is a coworker of mine. Dude's, I mean, just somebody who spent that much time, in a facility and can come out and, be a member of society again. I don't know, man. There's a calmness to this man that I hope that I can emulate someday. But you guys are going to get a kick out of that one. And then, so the song of the day that I had lined up for y'all, we're just going to kick. Did you have anything else you wanted to say? I mean, we kind of said it all, right?
I'm here for you. I love and support you, and I'm so proud of all the big things that you're doing. And I think you have the biggest heart of anyone I've ever met. And I could not be more honored to be your wife.
Aww.
And to be on your podcast as a backup whenever you need me.
Well, thank you for you're the best backup ever. I have tried to bring you on stuff though.
Do you remember whenever you would sing and you're like, I could be a singer, and I was like, you could be a backup singer?
Yeah, I do remember that. That was shitty of you to say that too.
Well, it's true.
That still hurts my soul that you said that.
Well, I was just being honest. Well, that's what is a love if we can't be honest with one another?
Well,
I couldn't even be a backup singer.
That is true.
Yeah.
You have a terrible singing voice, but I love you anyway. Anyway, guys, thanks a lot. I love y'all. Yeah, just big mood, This has been a fun trip, and I look forward to what the future has in store. And so, new beginnings, right? We got another 100 episodes to knock out. So before we get into that, before we end up the show, I'm going to do the song of the day. This is a guy I found on TikTok. His name is Benjamin Dakota Rogers, and kind of a very, a folk singer. This song is called Blackjack County. And it's just a dope song. I think you guys are really going to dig it. Have a lot of fun with it. And yeah, thank you for tuning in. And we will see you next week.
Adios.
Adios.
I was sitting by the road in Blackjack County. not knowing that the sheriff had paid a bounty for men like me who didn't have a penny to our name. So he locked my leg for 35 pounds of blackjack county chain. And all we had to eat was bread and water. And each day we had to build that road 1.25 miles. And Black Snake Whip would cut our back when some poor fool complains. But we couldn't fight back wearing 35 pounds of blackjack county chain. And one night, well, the sheriff, he lay sleeping. We gathered all around him, slowly creeping. And heaven help me to forget that night in the cold, cold rain, as we beat him to death with 35 pounds of blackjack county chain. Now the whip marks have all healed, and I am thankful. There's nothing but a scar around my ankle. And most of all, I'm glad no man will ever be a slave again to that Black Snake Whip with 35 pounds of blackjack county chain. Most of all, I'm glad no man will ever be a slave again to that Black Snake Whip with 35 pounds of blackjack county chain. To that Black Snake Whip with 35 pounds of blackjack